Hey family, so what's been happening since we last caught up? So we had the weekend go by, we had the Friday session shared by the crew, giving us insight in what's been happening in the latest. You can see we're still clocking up the funds. So we're now over £1.5 million raised for this Kickstarter. There's been lots of discussion in regards to the contents, the inclusion of some of the exclusive content from the original campaign. But let's dive in with the updates we've seen unveiled. So, as we enter the first Friday of the campaign, so obviously it's been the weekend, it's time to face our fears, which is brave the unknown. Something eerie is in the air. The winds are shifting and visitors are coming. It is time to meet the great old one that summoned it. Oh, how Ithaqua, the Wind Walker, the Lord of the Winds. So you can back this now as part of this Kickstarter and get a slight reduction there from 35 to $30. And it will give you the box with the Elder One figure, the two monster figures that are included as well, and nightmares. The outer box, obviously, with the accompanying mythos cards to shuffle in with the mythos deck, and 5 Elder One cards as well, and appropriate tokens. So the box brings the Elder One accommodation for episode. Can be combined obviously with any episode from any season, so 1, 2 if you've got that content, obviously the Unspeakable Box content as well as the new content that's coming, and so obviously brings it with it the new challenges. So you get the 2 Shantak figures, which are like these nightmare horses. The original artwork shows you with their sort of wings, for lack of a better description, down, but they wanted to give them a more dynamic pose with the wings raised, a bit more menacing. I've seen him before in the dark and cold. Beware the white silence, is the quote from Mike. Regards, Ithaqua, the Wind Walker. So Ithaqua, the son of Hastur, the Lord of the Winds, is a powerful great one in his own right, a horrifying giant that stalks the frozen wastes and slays whoever he comes across in pursuit of his goal to free the great old ones. He has the power to gather and control blizzards and violent snowstorms. It is no different to Death May Die, for whenever Ithaqua is chosen one, a blizzard token is placed on the board, forcing any investigator who enters fully maxed out stress and be unable to heal it. Worst yet, every time an Ithaqua advances, the blizzard moves towards the investigators, summoning a Shantak from amidst the storm, and from there on things only get tougher for the investigators. As Ithaqua edges near our realm, the blizzard grows more in intensity, moving more frequently around the board, causing more stress, damage, and preventing movement. Of course, as the Lord of the Winds and his cultists are completely immune to the freezing weather and roam free to attack the investigators, Ithaqua brings with him devastating weather effects on the board, offering a whole new experience of fighting the old ones. So yeah, very, very different feel to any of the other old ones that we've got and had to date. Just loving the detail on the sculpt there. Just the winds whipping away, and here we've got a good scale comparison, so investigators could almost sort of stand in between the legs of Ithaqua here, so give it a good idea of that size of what you're getting. And then with it as well, you get these Shantaks, so they come from the Dreamlands like any other kind of nightmare. So normal avian monsters with horse-like heads that attend the old ones. These creatures are incredibly tough, and their resilience makes it hard for investigators to eliminate them quickly. With their long affiliation, the Ithaqua Shantaks have learned ways to utilise Great One's violent blizzards to enter our realm, and worse yet, as long as they are near a blizzard, They are all the more frightening, forcing investigators to take stress before they attack or are attacked. Thus, attacks are constantly ticking down investigators' stress, hampering their ability to manipulate dice rolls. The faster you get rid of these monsters, the better, which is a lot easier said than done. And their aforementioned resilience. And again, you've got the scale comparison there with their forms, and of course the painted figures. And a reminder, they do not come painted. So you have the Athaqua box with those contents. That's available with that update. So then we saw with update 25, along with unlocking Michelle with the cricket bat, and obviously the Athaqua sharing, we also then had the Kickstarter exclusive content to be unlocked at 1.4 million, which obviously we've now passed. So this exclusive obviously is Lost episode 5, Dreams in the Witch House. So the cultists have found the old Mason house, where items of dark, potent and hideous power are stored. They'll use the residual magics to power a new ritual, and you must show that dark magic could also be used for the purpose of good. So investigators are no strangers to occult forces and need to manipulate and master them in order to have a chance to fight multidimensional horrors that do not evade them. Sometimes you simply must fight the fire. This is the case with this episode, in which investigators said a dark magic energy is emanating from Kezia Mason's old residence against enemies. During the course of the episode, investigators collect dark magic tokens by discovering talismans, sinister animals, and potions hidden in the witch's house and drawing their power. These tokens can be used against monsters to weaken them, forcing them to roll one less die, and to close open gates, which is necessary to stop the ritual. So the episode comes with the episode card, giving you the layout, etc., the monsters card, the additional foes you'll be fighting, the mythos cards, 50 discovery cards, giving you a bit of a story around the house itself, appropriate tokens, and obviously the box to hold this. This is using the content already unlocked for the Kezia Mason and Brown Jenkin monster. So update number 26 confirmed that we unlocked that content, and we're now heading our way to the 1.5 million and 146, unlocking another investigator. So this is Buck Hall from Chicago, Illinois. Revenge, that's what drives all of us in the end, even you. Nothing will ever replace what Buck has lost, not even taking down monsters and cultists, but will surely help with the unbearable weight of surviving. Ever since Buck lost his family, he is out on a killing spree, gaining bonus dice to attack monsters, dealing increasing amounts of extra wounds just for harming them, and, most importantly, healing stress while doing so. Considering he is known for his marvelous skills filled with swiftness, characteristics that allow him to survive in the first place, Buck is perfect to clear enemies off the board. And then we have a picture of his render of the miniature and the painted figure as well. So with update 27, we reached 1.53 million. To unlock, or rather when we reach 1.53 million, we'll unlock Celiac Tyran, and you get 3 monster figures and cards. So intelligence bidder-like race who come from the distant future after mankind's extinction. Data on this species shows that they face to be the hosts of the minds of ancient Yithians who escaped extinction, and the Yithians we featured in the I think it's season 2 or possibly even the Unspeakable box. The flying polyps who were also featured in the previous seasons, by transferring their consciousness en masse through time to supplant those of the Celebturians. The Celebturians are a people were then doomed to their fate at the hands of the polyps. It's impossible to know the Selepsians encountered in here and now are themselves or Yithians in their bodies. They escaped through time itself. Neat trick. That's the quote from Stella there. So, little is known about the species, a bit like creatures and monsters, making their vessels hosts greater than themselves, thus escaping extinction. It's possible to tell if their anger is their own or imposed upon them. What we do know is that insect-like bodies allow them to regrow damaged parts. Sounds interesting, particularly when they're angered, and the movement of the older one drives them to action, and they take to the skies, flying viciously towards the investigators. There you go, some great renders there. What those beetle-like beasts will look like. So update 28 then presented with us a summary of everything that's coming in this new offering. So it's Saturday. They posted this, and I'd like to share with you clearly the fear of the unknown was designed, how it compares to its predecessor, with the words of the designer himself. So this is from Marto, Portugal. So he was on the live talk, so there's a link on one of the updates to go and watch that on the YouTube. So he's a game designer and a senior game developer at CMON, and this is the first of a series of articles where he'll talk about Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown, and in this piece he's going to focus a bit about the new rules introduced, the standalone expansion. So just introduce yourself, joined CMON in 2016, sits in with a diverse range of projects, including Massive Darkness 2, the Hellscape, and also Zombicide Gear Up. Also lead developer on Gizmos and Ankh, Gods of Egypt, as well as Cthulhu Death May Die. So he's one of the original designers and developers, which is fantastic. So the latter was obviously his first work as lead developer of a big box game, which worked closely with Eric and Rob, helping them bring this thing to life and a spectacular system. So Fear of the Unknown and step back into the lead designer role, which is an honour, as is the game system he loves and holds in high regard. So without further ado, let's talk about these. So there's no changes in the main core rules, so we decided to make the install of Cthulhu Death May Die. It was certain the one thing, it needed to be fully compatible with the first one. The game was a great reception, so the things that the players want most is new content. Simple as that. No need to change the system, it already works so well, and that's why it's very important that we were making a standalone core box. All the new elders and episodes and investigators will be played with Series 1. Luckily the game is so modular and robust that making the new core box in the same format as the first, with new elder ones, episodes, insanities, could easily be accomplished, just needed to keep the same rules. Although it's standalone, Fear of the Unknown is also an expansion after all, so we wanted to include something new in the box, new mechanics that could be added to the game. After pondering the options, decided to add one of the biggest strengths of the game is the modularity. The fact you can combine any old one with the episode, and on top of that mixing with investigators and sanities, what makes it so interesting, and get it back to the table again and again. And so we came up with some new unknown rules. So the unknown rules is a mechanic which only introduces a new way to experience a game of Cthulhu Death May Die, but also consists of two modules that could be used independently. They're the unknown monsters and the unknown relics. So although they're designed to be played together, if players want an easier or harder game, they can choose to play one or the other. Playing with these modules already increases the difficulty of the game, while playing only with the unknown monsters makes the game even harder, and playing with the relics makes it slightly easier. So Unknown Monsters, looking at a game of the lengths of modularity, then was decided to add new game mode, while also offering a solution of a common request from players. One of the players' concerns was about the first season is the fact that some of the monsters are only present in a few of the episodes, makes favourite monsters tied to specific episodes. This is even noticeable for those that like to paint their miniatures. Thinking about the angle, we then came up with the Unknown Monsters mechanic. So thanks to your unlocking as an earlier stretch goal, great job investigators, the Fear of the Unknown core box now comes with the Unknown Monster cards for all Season 1, 2 and 3 monsters. So these cards allow players to use any the monsters for any of those seasons in any episode. The only restriction to the monster cannot be already present in the episode. Obviously you run out of figures. When using the unknown rules, you choose 2 monsters to be added to the game. Each monster in the game is an unknown monster card and has the same exact health, attack dice and effect as the ones we have that are appearing in the episodes, to keep their identity and familiarity. However, they also have a special when the Elder One advances effect, like the ones from the Elder Ones and the episodes, which makes the players feel constantly present in the game. So each monster's effect is unique. Changing which unknown monsters are in the game completely changes how it plays, adding a whole new layer of modularity. Now, one of the things that, from my observations of this, both as an existing owner, with, as it was saying, using the monsters from the episodes, and also what I've seen the playthroughs thus far using these new unknown monsters add-on, is certainly the fact that you could have monsters on the board in the original game that would be there and they'd stand there and but very much beheld by the mythos cards that get drawn. So you could potentially have monsters on the board that never do anything at all, never act, never interact, never get triggered because those cards simply don't come out. The fact that these have then got a when the Elder One advances mechanism built on them is fantastic, because you'll see a lot more action, a lot more interaction from these monsters moving forward as well. So yeah, really love that, and I'm looking forward to adding that to the gameplay. So when playing with Monsters Unknown, you simply add the Unknown dashboard next to the storyboard. As you see, they've built that and integrated that into the existing setup. Fit to the Unknown monsters and added to the game. And the dashboard also comes with a nice summary of the end of turn phase, including the extra steps added by the Unknown monsters, which again is great. So you used to have this summary here at the end of turn phase on the back of the rulebook, but it meant you always had to have the rulebook out and to hand when playing the game. So this eliminates that requirement as well. So once you know the rules, and the rules are very simple for this game, which is fantastic. Again, it's just another reason why it's such a great game to get tabled. So to avoid the unknown monsters being too predictable, also decided to add some cards to the mythos deck that move them. So messing with the tight balance of the mythos deck can be problematic, since the correct mix of the episode and Elder Ones is what makes the game flow. And he decided to create unknown mythos cards that you have simple effects to move the monsters and would not count as a mythos card drawn from the turn. So when you draw an unknown behaviour mythos, you always draw a new card and resolve. This may chain multiple unknown behaviour cards, adding in a greater level of unpredictability. So that makes these cards easy to grasp without affecting the mythos. So as you can see here on here, so move to the nearest sign. Yeah, it's 2 spaces towards you. So you've got various bits of 1 space, 2 space. They've got different portals, etc. So yeah, just changing up the behaviour of these monsters as you play the game as well, which is great. And it was certainly one of the downfalls of almost kind of gaming, being able to game to a degree the original series with the behaviour of the Elder Ones. They would come out and they would always appear in that particular portal area, then the next particular portal area, and then the start zone or whatever it was. And you were able to knowing that information, once you played that episode a couple of times, you were able to very easily gauge and understand, okay, that right, when I attack it here, if I cause this much damage, this is where it's going to go to next. I need to now get over there, or make sure somebody else is there ready and waiting, whatever. So yeah, so I believe you'll be able to use these as well for determining the Elder Ones, not just the unknown monsters, which would be great. So just another layer of variety and modularity, which is fantastic. So very excited for the unknown monsters being included in the game. By itself, it made the game harder. So therefore, to balance it, we needed a mechanism that empowered the investigators, not only, but also wants to increase the modularity of the game even further. So one of my favourite discovery cards of the game is science mannequin from episode 1 and episode 4. I think it showcases what the investigators insane throughout the game and how this makes them more powerful. So this was the science mannequin, so a replica ceramic human with all the organs showing the liver is missing. However, you may claim the human module, or if you have reached 2 or more insanity thresholds, you may claim Sam instead. So a dependence on your level of sanity as to do you gain the item or do you gain the companion? Is the companion even accessible to you to gain? So this discovery card was a great inspiration for the unknown relics. So each investigator would start the game with 1 relic, and that they would keep until the end of the game, and each of these relics has a unique special ability the investigator can use from the start. And throughout the game, the investigator ever reaches the 30th sanity threshold, they would flip the relic over to its more powerful side. So you've got this relic here, for example, a sinister book. Then it says once per turn, when making any roll, you may count any number of elder signs as both 1 success and a tentacle, so it causes you to increase upon the sanity track, and it stops counting as an elder sign, so you can't use that alongside the arcane mastery. But when you reach the 3rd pip on your insanity track, then whether it genuinely is or whether your insanity causes you to believe it to be, it becomes the Necronomicon. So now when resolving any roll, you may count any number of elder signs as 2 successes, and it's an insanity, but it also stops counting as an elder sign. So you can see obviously increases, like doubles in fact, the power of those rolls. So if you have got a character that has this relic, doesn't have the arcane mastery, then that's a fantastic boost to your ability. So the game comes with 12 relic cards you could use with any investigator in the game, allowing for a multitude of interesting combinations. This mechanism, it fits smoothly into the game progression, since a loss of sanity is already what makes investigators stronger. Not only that, but it also allowed to add some interesting items and objects to the mythos and the mythologies into the game. So you have the replica blade that flips to become Excalibur. You have the shiny jewel, which flips to become the shining trapezohedron, which forgive me, I'm unaware of from a mythology perspective. So that's it for today. Was he saying? So yeah, that's an outline of the new modular content being added, and then we have one further update which just identifies everything being added to the pledge so far. So we've got a whole bunch of Kickstarter exclusive individual investigators being added, and they're fantastic sculpts. So these are their renders here. And these look great, and they look just as, like I say, they've got a YouTube talk through, and they've got these in physical renders, and you can see these in all their glory, and they really do look glorious. Really well sculpted and designed as always. So yeah, so we've got a whole bunch of those investigators now. So what have we got? So we've got 4. My head's sunk. So we've got 16, so we've got 17 so far, okay. And then we've also got the lost episode for Hypnos, and using all of that content there, as well as now the lost episode of the Witch's House, with because I am Mason Brown Jenkin. And then we've got a number of monsters which obviously can be used, will be used in these Elder One episodes, but they can be used now as well with the unknown monsters, which we've also got the cards for the Unspeakable Box and season 1 and 2. So yeah, so fantastic. We've got all of that content now available. So coming up next, we're going to reach 1.59 million, which we're not too far away where we're at now. So if I flip to dollars, so 158. So yes, and as you can see, live still counting up. So we'll reach 159. It unlocked the Kickstarter exclusive investigator Anita for all backers, including her figure and dashboard, to her quote, from Beirut, Lebanon. Turning an enemy into an ally is the peak of strategy. Magic helps. So let's find out a bit about her. So Anita is the beast tutor with arcane mastery, able to tame a kind of creature, no matter the size or form and which dimension they come from. She starts the game with a discovery card of her own, which grants her a special action to make a roll against any monster in her space. If she obtains an amount of success higher or equal to the monster's remaining health, they are tamed. With a pet monster defending her, Anita gains bonus dice when attacking. The spell, however, is not as powerful as the Elder one. So as soon as the beast hears the call of the Great One and its summoned, the spell is broken. Lucky for Anita, she also has stealth to sneak past enemies until she finds another one that pleases her enough to be tamed. Love that idea. Fantastic. Use the enemies against themselves. Brilliant. So there we go. So there's the sculpt and of course the painted render. So that's it, folks. So thanks for watching as always. Hope you've enjoyed that. And yeah, hope you have another update soon. I believe they are doing another week rundown on this coming Friday as well, and hopefully we'll have a lot more content to share with one another at that time. So thanks for watching, and if you like it, please hit the like button, leave us a comment, give us your opinions on what you do, don't like, what you'd appreciate, see more of, less of, etc. And yeah, hope to speak to you again soon. Cheers, family. Bye.